Hello, Kairos community. It's your girl, Dr. K, and I am here with yet another Teacher Talk. And today, I am super excited to share with you our math instructor. His name is Nick Guadiana. Did I say it right, Nick?
Yep, you did. That's me. Hey, everyone.
Wonderful. Nick is going to tell you a little bit about himself. He plays multiple roles. He is one of our pillars here at the high school, and I'm super excited to share all of his expertise with you. So without further ado, let me turn it over to you. Nick, tell us about you and what you're doing in the classroom.
Hey, so again, I'm Nick Guadiana. I am ninth grade Algebra 1 teacher, also math department chair here at Kairos Academy's high school. Super pumped about that role. So far, my work stream has largely been around like developing really engaging lesson plans that probe students to address grade level work, while still making it accessible for all of our scholars to come to the table and push everyone's collective thinking forward, which is a phrase we use a lot in class.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when I'm not doing that as an instructor, I'm also helping coach, co-lesson plan, and build capacity for other math teachers here in the school. So it's really exciting work, and I'm glad to be here to talk about it.
Wonderful. Today I was able to do some instructional rounds and I came in your classroom. And what I can really appreciate is the thinking process and all of those wonderful strategies that I saw you engaging. Tell us about your current unit with exponentials and what you're doing and how you're making that learning sticky.
Yeah, making that learning sticky. Well, what's great about exponentials is it builds off of all of this work they've done for the past 3.5 years in middle school. So everything was either aligned or not aligned in middle school. And now there's this big push towards what happens when things curve, as things change over like equal factors. It's little things that we take for granted, but it's this huge like quantum leap for scholars right now. And so they are fully like meeting like pedal to the metal. They're giving it their all, and they're seeing connections now between earlier work and using that to make sense of things they're doing now. One way that has really showlit that is this thinking protocol we use. It's based off building thinking classrooms, wonderful math PD. And the basic idea, the TLDR version is scholars are up in groups working on the whiteboards. And the idea is they can see each other's work and are able to discourse with each other in the moment and afterwards to talk about different strategies, different representations, and different just like rationales they can provide for solving open-ended, rigorous problems. That's been a huge thing for them.
Mm-hmm. And what I'm listening to you, I think about that capacity building and that ownership, but you also use a wonderful program called Desmo. Let the audience see what does this scholar work look like and really bring us into what we're hearing you describe.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to share my screen real fast and take you to one of these activities we did this week. So as scholars are understanding percent change, we had like a quick mini lesson because we have to remember this is when we read our coherence map a couple years ago during COVID. We don't know what was consistent. We did an pre-assessment and saw a lot of our scholars weren't comfortable with percent change. So after a really quick mini lesson, and I really try not to say too much in class, I think we can minimize teacher talk the better. But a quick mini lesson, a few at-bats at it. Students were making sense of novel situations across curricula. So this has a biology context where students were, and ecology context, where students are making sense of how change over equal factors appears on a graph and on a table. But this time, what does it mean for there to be like a negative exponent? So before I even ask students to calculate it, to be a calculator, I'm pushing them to consider, well, what does this mean in context? Like if T is talking about years, and they all know zero is the start, what does negative mean? And building that deep intuition for how to read across multiple contexts. So we see some really awesome scholars up here who filled out their thinking. What's really great about Desmos is I can program it to like auto check their work. And with that instant feedback, they know immediately what to work on, what not to work on. And that has just really motivated a lot of scholars to evaluate, know what they know, and then dig deeper from there. You know, we're not settling as much, which is huge for our thinkers, especially our math reluctant folks. So I'm really proud of that work happening right now in class.
Wonderful. And what I hear you saying is about the student being in the driver's seat of their education. I thought it was great. As I was reading the math problems, I was thinking about cross-content connections, collaboration. So this was like science and math all combined in one. So thank you for showing us that example. And also the thinking work, right? The thinking behind it. How do they maximize that critical thinking skills and how do they engage with the content? Now I want to pick your brain about Summit. We talk about it all the time, and to our parents, sometimes it can feel a little abstract. It's our curriculum, but how do you engage with it to make sure that you take the curriculum and like apply those instructional frameworks to make sure that the scholars are actually learning all of what they need to?
Absolutely. I think Summit is phenomenal as it's basically like our our basic curriculum is how I explain to parents. This is where I pull all the things we're going to do in class from. If a parent's ever curious, get your kid's Summit login. Let's pull it up together. This is what they're going to do. Here's the roadmap for the year. Really easy to interpret that way. But on the instructional end, there's also this duty of care to make sure that, one, we take the Summit materials and allow students to engage with, one, ensure like it's grade level content aligns to Missouri. So that's a duty of care I have. Additionally, culturally relevant pieces, like are the practices in Summit really leaning on context that students can make sense of? So the example I showed you right now, like that was a Kairos content one, but some contents are going to engage students to think about, I don't know, snack sales, entrepreneurship, things that they're immediately engaged in and can make sense of. That allows them to become sense makers and engage that much deeper with the grade level content. So Summit is phenomenal to pull from and internalize from, but there's additionally that piece of knowing the students and fitting it to their interests so they can engage that much deeper.
Mm-hmm. What would you tell any scholar that was thinking about joining us in the high school, or a parent, if they wanted to know more about the curriculum, what they can anticipate and expect if they were coming to sit in your classroom? What are some things that you would want to share with them?
100%. I think a lot of our students experience a math culture shock specifically because our Summit math classrooms flip the usual script of direct instruction. We sort of work from a framework of you do, we do, I do to consolidate frameworks. The idea is students are constructing the mathematical knowledge. I'm there as a facilitator. I'm there managing, facilitating, pushing kids, offering probing questions. Once they have that all together, they practice with each other. And then at the very end, this is like the cherry on top, the chef's kiss I always tell my kids, is this consolidation. Let's take all these great thoughts you had and really, really laser target focus on the aspect that this standard addresses. And then from there, they transfer that knowledge and apply it in new contexts through a more traditional exit ticket. So Summit Math usually gets this kind of like reputation of like, oh, it's the most traditional. They do tests, they don't do projects, but it is deeply interactive. The distinction I make is a lot of the Summit classes are project-based. They're working on months-long projects. We're problem-based. Students are solving problems and making sense of it in their own terms so they can transfer that knowledge moving forward. So I would tell people, you know, embrace the math culture shock, lean into the discomfort, and know that everyone has something to bring to the table and everyone's thoughts legitimately push the thinking forward.
I love that. The one question that I want to end our conversation on, because you've done such a thorough job of explaining and building those connections for us, what excites you? If I think about second semester, we're almost like we have a couple weeks left in cycle 5. We have 2 additional cycles because we're year round, but you have really seen our scholars come in and grow. What is exciting you as we try to finish strong? You can just tell me in general in the math class, at the school, student growth, your growth, what's exciting you nowadays?
I think what is so exciting, and this is something I've really got to celebrate with my other math teacher here in the high school, is our students' NWA data. So for context, we all know, people at home, NWA, basically just a test to benchmark and evaluate like where are students at growth-wise. It measures growth over years as students grow with Kairos. And what was so encouraging was seeing that students learn like 40% more than anticipated on this test compared to national peers. So our scholars are far exceeding the expectations set by the national average, which is only the floor from here. So what's really exciting is pushing our kids through our intervention program, through the quality and tailor-made math instruction that we're doing, and really meeting our scholars where they're at through these like instructional rounds, through like peer observations. There's all these layers of feedback that allow us to sharpen ourselves as educators in the service of our scholars. So that shows in the growth they have, and I think we only go up from there.
Wonderful. And I really like that you did that plug for NWEA, which for all of our listeners is a nationally normed test. And because we're project-based, we do nationally normed tests because at the end of the year, we do take the Missouri map. And our scholars are able to really still learn those skill sets because a lot of the KAHS skills are mapped to standards. And so they get a lot of at-bats. And it's just really giving, I guess, the scholars equity, what they need in order to master the concepts to be able to still perform at any level. All right. Well, this has been a teacher talk with our phenomenal Nick teacher who is in math for youth algebra, right? 9th grade algebra. Yep. He is our department chair. He also not only mentors the students, he mentors some of the teachers, not only in the high school, but also in the middle school. So we always look for opportunities to really leverage the skill set of our fantastic teachers so that they can help us grow in all of our development in the years to come. Is there anything else you want to leave everyone with before we wrap this up?
I think we're really only beginning. I'm excited to see how the high school grows from here, and I'm confident that our Kairos kids are going to kill it come math EOC season.
All right, well, we'll show them where the data is. Thank you all so much. This has been a Teacher Talk. Until next time, bye.